Hi. We're live. Hey, shout out to Tar Baby Yoda.
What's up, bro?
We talked about doing a hangout. Oh shoot, I have it on here. You see the okay. Duh. Oh my gosh. I got a real life guest, Jamie Russell from the Jamie Russell CME channel.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah. I think we'll open up the panel maybe later on, but we wanted to I don't know, look at some videos together.
Yeah.
I had we went through that cleansing experience yesterday.
That was cool.
And Jamie took videos. So for those of you who haven't seen it, I thought pull it up and play it, show you guys.
Yeah, that was like 50, at least 60, 70, 80, 100 pounds of spiritual.
I think it was close to 100 pounds.
Yeah, it really was.
Because those decks, they're like big, thick books when you really look at it.
Mm-hmm.
What a waste of money when I think about it. Like, girls be that way though. I can't judge myself too hard about that. If it wasn't that, it would have been something else.
You're like, I'm going to keep this one and this one because
I didn't keep any. I mean, no. Once I made the choice,
mm-hmm.
I didn't have trouble purging. We did have a couple of moments where I was tense though, where I was in the process. He was trying to throw certain decks away, and I was like, "Don't."
I was like, I'm throwing this switch.
I was like, "No, let me do it." Well, I had to assert myself because it's
No, that's cool.
There's certain with getting rid of some of these decks, some of them are there's more of a emotional processing, and I just want to feel myself being the one to let it go so that I actually feel that severance and not I was
Well, let's be clear, you obviously you weren't practicing any of that.
No, not for years, but there was still there was an emotional,
mm-hmm.
There's a lot of emotion tied into it. When I think about when I was doing readings for people and the amount of the intensity of it at times, people would weep often,
Sure.
They would just come into the reading and they would need so much emotional processing and encouragement, and what they were seeking wasn't the reading, and I was always trying to get at the heart of what does this person actually need emotionally, because
there's so many layers to what that's going on with that.
Yeah, this is another reason why this stuff is evil. I mean, it's a lot to process, and for me it's it's been a slow process, just getting ready to let all that go. But I feel better.
I used to collect sports cards with my dad, and it reminded me of that. And she had I don't even know, 50 different
There
decks.
were way more than 50 decks.
Yeah,
there were probably close to 70.
I don't want to glorify anybody, but a lot of them are really kind of neat looking.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. The art is really beautiful in some of these things, and
interesting.
So with a couple of the decks, we opened them up and looked at them before I let them go, which was helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should play the video.
Should I just play the video? We can continue to talk about it.
See how much it was. Well, I just wanted to say, obviously to make it clear, you weren't interested in doing this anymore. You guys have been reattached to your Christian roots. I wonder if they can hear me.
Can you guys hear Jamie okay? Press 1 if you can. I do have my sody pop in the way. I'll move it. You want us to sing for you? Maybe.
Can you hear me? Were you hearing what I was saying?
Yoda said yeah.
Okay. So yeah, she obviously wasn't practicing it, but it was something she had, and it was kind of away in a low cabinet sort of thing. But it was
it wasn't out.
We got to get rid of that junk. Yeah, we did. So we did.
Yeah. And shout out to C-Cell who like came on last week and was like, you really should get rid of that stuff. I listened to an audio reading of the book she recommended, Pigs in the Parlor. And it wasn't like groundbreaking full of information, but it was helpful to like listen to that because it took me about a day to like work up to being like, I'm going to get rid of these. Like,
we got rid of all
of them. As far as I know, I mean, there could be some rogue ones around the house because I can be cluttered in certain places in the house. Let's just be real. But yeah, any place with a surface.
That probably represented a couple $1,000.
Yeah, he does. No, I'm thrifty, babe. A lot of those decks I got were gifts. And a lot of them were also like, no, that was hard too with processing the ones that were gifts because it was like, I'm getting rid of this thing that someone gave to me, you know, one of my friends, you know, gave to me out of something good within them, you know? So it's like, yeah, they got me something I liked and wanted because they loved me and they didn't know that it was evil. So it's like always judge the heart with that stuff. So that was another reason why it was emotional for me.
It was cute. She there was a couple of times she stopped. She goes, wait.
I had to pray.
And she grabbed it. She was praying for the person who gave it to her.
Yeah, or the person. Sweet. Yeah, I prayed. Or
and then we threw it in the trash.
Or some of the decks like were from like female artists that I'd like gotten readings from or like worked with in some capacity. So like I had to stop and take a moment to remember. Like this is the thing. Like I guess with being born again and like you do go through a death when you're born again. And I guess I hadn't really gone through the grief, you know, of like my life completely, you know, before.
I could see the tension.
Like, yeah, it was so like that. There was, and I don't know, yeah, also the emotion for like memories coming through of like women I'd read for. I mean, most of my clients were women just because of my connections in the feminist world. Like people found out I was into reading. They thought I was wise or whatever in some capacity, or they saw something mystical in me and they thought, you know, they would work with me. And I don't know, like, so I did have a few male clients, but like most of them are females. And I think there are men that do seek out psychics, but I feel like men are a bit more, they don't need to see a psychic as much as a woman, you know what I mean? Like men can kind of handle not knowing things and uncertainty better than women, I think.
So many things that you've said about your experience with that are like little details that like, when I've heard people talk about it that claim, I showed her some of it, but like, so many of the details are very specific and it's spooky. These things like the wind gusting you're telling me about and like what you're talking about right now, that's totally the case. That, you know, the manipulation that goes on. I swear I felt like I was getting something weird was happening. Like I felt kind of, after I threw them away, I was like, I went in the elevator. I just had a bunch of weird feelings about it. I felt like there was like a spiritual presence, but it was probably just in my head, but it was weird.
No, we're doing spiritual warfare last night and it definitely, but I slept like, I mean, not the best sleep of my life, but I didn't have any nightmares or anything last night.
Good.
I felt like very protected.
I felt like the elevator was malfunctioning.
I wouldn't be surprised.
When I threw it down the chute, it was like, you can't really replay the video, but it was like, so they can have an idea of like how much it was, how much stuff it was. And a guy, when I was in college, I remember he was a very spiritual guy, Christian. He worked in the shop. He was like, I was telling him about my testimony, and he was talking about his, and he was like, he told me like for sure, was very serious. He's very, very serious about his belief, his Christianity. And he's like, if someone's been in the occult or whatever, you got to get rid of all the stuff because stuff's attached to the. Because he was telling me these stories about how they're like people being oppressed by like just furniture or like memorabilia that they had, or even like a table they used for occult practices. He's like, you have to get rid of it on purpose. And he's like, because there's like, or like you'll have worse oppression. I was like, I don't know if I buy all that, but
I think that's putting a little bit too much fear on it.
maybe.
Like that it's a double-edged sword because you should fear this stuff, but like also God is not a spirit of fear, you know, and these entities are not that powerful. You should get rid of it, I think, just because like
There's
it's more like you, I think, you know.
well, that dynamic is so reflected in Paul's writings in the New Testament, talking about meat to sacrifice to idols, because there's like parts where he talks about there was really no gods because Jesus has defeated him. He's not saying there's no spiritual powers because he says that elsewhere, but he's like saying it's like if you know it was sacrificed to idols, like don't do it. But if you don't know, don't worry about it. Because like Jesus won. But he's still kind of like you shouldn't actively buy meat you know was sacrificed to idols. But if you don't know and it's like someone giving it to you, like it's fine. So there's like people interpret those verses differently, but that's my reading of it. So it's kind of like there's like the weaker brother sort of stuff too, right? Like if it's a stumbling stone, for someone, then don't give them a hard time. But if you're like whatever, Anyway, let's play the video.
Yeah, let's get the video here. There you are.
Shorts.
Yeah, go to the shorts. Jamie is so great with the shorts. Okay, let me share the. Oh, I'm in the wrong. Hello. It's an open door to the enemy. Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna put Argolinus's comment up just because but yeah, totally see that. Sorry, chat. We've just been kind of talking. I haven't been paying attention to you, but I've seen like Aaron was here, Maina, Argolinus, Yoda. Who else did I see? Keysmo, Sherry B. Hi. Skip Log. What's up? Crowbar the Skull. Am I missing anyone? Jado. Shout out to Jado. I don't know. If I missed anyone else, I'm sorry. I did skip through a bit fast, but thank you for being here. Wolf Den. Okay, Wolf Den in the house. And then Golden Roll TV.
We are going to open it up eventually.
Yeah, we'll open it up for discussion. Okay, sorry guys. I'm all apologetic. Like, sorry, I didn't acknowledge you guys yet, but we have been having this in-depth. Okay. I know. There we go. So we're in this shorts. It's this first video.
Okay, so I'm in Terry's apartment. This is the garbage room. We're going through her stuff. And we prayed about this, but look at this. This is whoops. 50 pounds. This one, 50 pounds. Lord have mercy. This is heavy. Anyway, you get the point. She's letting it go. Okay? Isn't that cool? Let there be light. I gotta tie this off. Okay. Bye-bye. One sec. Why is it zoomed in? There we go. Good night. Okay, so.
Okay, terrible camera work, I know, but it's hard to hold a camera and open a shoe and hold a 50-pound bag at the same time.
No, you did your best.
At one time, I like put it in my mouth and you could like see it on my nose. But yeah, did you see all those tarot cards in there? Like that was heavy. Both of those were really heavy. And
Clean house, clean heart, shoe. Thank you, Skip. That is true. Break the wrist and walk away. Hi, Bolt Gun. Good to see you.
so that was weird when I like looked in the bag and the lovers one was there.
Yeah, they were messing with us for sure.
See that?
Bye bye, Satan.
That was random. Those cards are weird.
They are, yeah. Yeah.
You can just like pull them out and like you get like it's so
They
divination.
suck you in. Yeah, they suck you in. When you gaze into the abyss, it gazes back into
When I
you,
heard-
right?
When I first started throwing them away, I was just looking at the cards and I was just thinking like, oh, that one, and I'm like, oh wow, look how, and you can start, your mind starts ticking. It's like
Yeah, it starts putting things
putting
together.
ideas together. Then pretty soon you feel like you're doing something. Maybe you are. You don't really know.
Oh, I already threw that out.
What's that?
The Ouija board.
Yeah, that's
That was trash last week.
That was last
Thank
week.
you so much for helping me.
yeah, that was fun.
Like, I needed help with this. It wasn't something I could do alone. And I needed a man to help me too, honestly.
Yeah, next week I'll probably do an exorcism. I can then baptize it. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm baptized.
We go to church
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah.
We haven't missed one church.
I love going to church.
I go to her church with them. But
Yeah, you do.
I can get to know people at our church, but we haven't missed one
Yeah.
week.
They're very happy for me too. It's sweet.
Huh.
Yeah, the people that come up there, like a lot of the ladies, like you can just tell, like the older ladies, they're like very pleased. They wanted me to
Yeah, they're sweet. Some of them
Yeah.
are like kind of protective, and some of them are just like,
yeah, they are. That is good. You should be protective of your younger sisters in church.
Yeah.
They're women of God,
One of them, I came up.
They're very
I went,
precious.
I went to the bathroom and I came back and she was talking to a woman and she turns to me and she's like, "We're talking about you." And I was like, "Okay, good." I walked back. I started taking
That
it
was
to her.
probably true. Yeah, I'm not gonna say her name.
Yeah, it was funny.
She's amazing. I love her.
It's great.
She's sweet. And she has every reason to be. I like how she's kind of just. I like that she watches out for me, and is also like assertive.
There's not a lot of
She's very good at being assertive. Not many people communicate that well, but she's very good at like putting up that kind of boundary with people quickly.
Yeah. And there's not really any options in there. It's like your church isn't totally dead, but there's not a huge demographic sweep of people our age there. There's a few.
Yeah, it is tough. We need more millennials in the churches.
Yeah.
At least in my church, I feel. I mean, there is a strong millennial presence, but it could be stronger and it needs to be. And I pray that we do have that, revival, people. We need revival in the millennials. We can't be having all these people out here preaching witchcraft and stuff. It's not good.
Yeah,
It's time to grow up and get out of that mess.
the last few days, just me, I just go for a walk or by myself. I went the other day, and there
How
was
did-
a man in a dress with boobs.
A Baphomet.
I call them Baphomets.
Jamie's been calling the trans women Baphomets.
If it's a man in a dress and he has boobs and he's showing them off like with cleavage, like if a woman did that, she would seem slutty. I don't just mean, oh, how you can kind of see right here. I mean like straps and boobs, like a comic book.
Yeah.
And it's a man and they're wearing kind of a tight dress and they have long hair that's like styled like a woman, but it's a man.
They want it. They're like turning themselves into their own fantasies about
Yeah.
women.
That's what it is.
It's really creepy.
You can almost feel sad for them, but it's like,
Yeah, but that's how the devil gets you, pity. Like, oh, you
It's kinda
poor
like-
thing.
you can find
And yeah, to a certain degree, but like you can't, they're grown men. You can't mama grown men. They need to be dealt with like grown men.
it's crazy.
Do you think we're cute? She thinks we're cute. I think we're cute too. I think we look good together.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I can't see the chat here, but let's see.
Jamie is still traumatized by old man boobs. God. Yeah. I know.
No, I mean younger men
Is
with fake boob jobs. I ran into one this morning. I was like, oh, look at that rocker chick on her scooter. She had like a iPad. It was early. Because I go to work early.
Don't describe this person, babe. I don't think you should.
I know.
You were telling me
I
about
told her
them.
about
I was like, whoa.
And then they talked, and I was just like, it's a man. Like I wasn't really paying that much attention. I wasn't like, oh wow, look at that chick. I was just like,
Welcome to
there's a girl.
Portland.
I keep running into them. They're everywhere. And then there's like the old dudes with like stringy hair, long, and they're wearing like a dress and they're dressing like a grandma. And it's like, it's so, I didn't realize how common it is. People are dying, man. Everybody here's like, there's like just a lot of homeless.
I've been
crazy
thinking
people.
about it. I prayed because of listening to that book, Pigs in the Parlor.
Mhm.
And one of the things they said and they described, they were talking about the principalities that rule over certain like
Okay.
neighborhoods, like communities, cities, and that kind of thing. And I started thinking about, and I prayed to God today to show me, like, what does this demon that is controlling this area look like? And I'm just kind of now, since having you talking about this, I see like, okay, so there's some gender confusion element, that's oppressing the people here. And I went through it too.
Yeah. Well, that's why I jokingly say Baphomet, but it's kind of serious because it's like
Yeah, it
that
is.
symbol is Satan, who's a male, but he has breasts that are exposed and then, goat legs. But it's clearly a mixed gender idea in the person of
Yeah.
Satan, getting your identity in an ungodly way. And it's there's no boundaries of gender. And now I don't mean to brag, but like my church is saying it thinks Jesus is coming back soon. And
You brag about that?
no, and that my point is that things would get worse in a sort of way, like our within the Adventist church, the idea of like not raising your family in the cities, like be out away from the cities. You can see it's really reached ahead.
Dang, Keithmo.
She is near
Called out. Ouch. It's true though. Like, it's one thing to see it, but we always have to keep our eyes on ourselves,
Well, right.
because what sin are we being oppressed under?
Right,
How is this demon like influencing us? And yeah, maybe judgment, because you know what, that is a spirit that is in this area.
I don't judge people like I hate them. I'm just saying, like, look, that's an extreme manifestation of how bad the world is. And yes, we are supposed to care about those people. I do, but some of them wouldn't give you the time of day. They're so politically, ideologically possessed,
Yeah.
whether literally or just self-imposed or however I don't really care how you want to look at it. My point is, where there's concentrations of godlessness, it manifests more higher and higher percentages of the population, and people are like hopelessly given over to that. But I wouldn't say I like give up on anyone. That's for God to decide what that is. We're not supposed to do that. But it just is the case. And by the way, I would just say regarding being better than somebody, I've thought about this a lot. And it's like, I'll just say this: it's better to do what God says.
Yeah.
Now, intrinsically, like, are you better? I'm just saying,
But-
doing what God
yeah.
says is better. You're not intrinsically better or like, what's the word? Epistemologically better. But I'm just saying, like, we should encourage each other, not just curse each other with saying you're bad, even though we know that we all are that close to giving ourselves over to evil. And it's always there, but it's better to do what God said. That's all.
So I'm reading the chat. I agree with you about that. Like, the rules are there to protect us and preserve our life, you know? God is our Father. He's trying to take care of us and guide us and shield us from danger, you know?
Yeah, like
But-
he says lots of good stuff.
Yeah, Argolinus is a very deep guy.
He says a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
no,
that's on point. On point.
Yeah, but he's Christian. He has a very interesting testimony. Yeah,
A lot of things he says is like insightful.
yeah, it is. Yeah, that's why I put it up.
It's like
What do you
Matthew
think?
said.
What do you guys think? Yeah, he that is spiritual judges all things. I go back and forth because I feel like
That's Paul
It's
getting at the
something
Jesus
I-
in Matthew 7.
it's something I definitely come across as like judgmental sometimes. Or
Because you're a troll.
I troll a bit, but I also, I
You
mean,
love
you
people.
can be trolling and mean it too.
Sure.
Like people don't understand that. You can like, because a lot of the times trolls do mean what they're saying. They're not just trolls. Like,
They're being edgy.
I mean, they are trolls, but they're like, you ask, I always get that with people that are like, when you're trolling them, they're like, are you sincere? Are you just saying something to like wind me up? Like, no, I'm sincere. Like, I'm saying it in a way to wind you up, but the sentiment is true. Like, hey, Nicholas Whittle's here. Good to see you. I know, I got that hurt. Like, I was so ticked. I was like, okay, Mark, he's still looking. He said he was so nasty. He said he saw this like woman on TV spit on a guy and she looked just like what he imagines I look like. I was like, I was like, I imagine, and I said a nasty thing in the chat. I won't repeat it. I said it once. That was bad enough. But like, I don't imagine he looks very good either. But you know, that's the problem with stereotyping people because of, you know, what you think somebody looks like. The most dangerous people look normal. Okay.
Yeah, just
So
that one
like,
what's that guy's name?
huh? Like what? What guy?
The guy who was like 8 people.
8 people? Oh, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. He looked pretty like dorky normal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know. Like, maybe the pictures I've seen of him, I've seen after he was like arrested and stuff. So he was probably at a low point in his life then, you know.
Probably.
Actually, you know what? I think that guy was all low point, to be honest.
Oh, but he converted.
No, okay. He did? Did he?
Yeah, the end with creationism.
Okay. Right on. I'm glad to hear
He
that.
was like he got converted by Baptists, I think.
Thank God for
Hardcore
Baptists.
Baptist.
Yeah. This is why I love being part of a Baptist church because they're like,
I think it was more of like fundamentalists in the church.
Yeah, I
Which-
don't-
Not that your
yeah.
church isn't fundamentalist.
I don't like the independent fundamentalist. Like,
I think he saw Kent Hovind videos.
I love Kent Hovind.
Me too.
Like they hate him so bad. It just makes you, whenever I see somebody having a bunch of shade thrown their way, it always makes me kind of like them and respect them. You know what I mean? It has like the opposite effect to me because I'm like, I know when like that much shade is being thrown, that there's some light there that they
Somebody's
don't want
getting
us to
convicted.
see.
Something about.
And I'm not saying that the guy's perfect because he's
Yeah.
not, but that's not my business. Like,
Word.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
What are we talking about?
everything.
Should we open up the panel?
Sure.
Let people call in. Do people want to call in?
Yeah.
Joe called in recently. Joe called in, I don't know, last week. Hey, Danny. Danny's here. Peter confessed he was just a stupid man. I do be stupid sometimes.
You?
Me,
Not you.
no, you don't think so?
No.
Aw, that's
You're
nice. I am smart, but you know, like all people, like
Wicked smart.
it's only smart is just, you know, it only goes so far in the grand scheme of things, and you can't be smart about everything.
Oh, I wanted to play that video where I videotaped you in the restaurant. You didn't know I was videotaping.
I knew you were videotaping, baby. Like, you mean last night?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's so pretty.
Oh no, no, I don't want to play
Play
it.
It was playing that song. We're like, this song.
I
is
hate
so
that
dumb.
song,
But then we're
too.
like, it's pretty good though.
It's perfect pop though.
Yeah, it's like perfect for me.
Oh, that song. Okay, well, let me get
She didn't know I was
over here.
videotaping. I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't know that you were with this one. I thought you meant the other restaurant, but okay.
Yeah, right there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like a perfect part of the song too.
I need to put this one in the middle. Sorry, guys, I'm slow. Okay, make it bigger.
This is how you remind me. This is how you remind me of what I really am. This is how you.
Do I look okay?
That was cute.
Yeah, in your face, Mark.
Yeah, that was playing on the radio. That was playing in the bar. Restaurant.
That song.
She didn't know I was taping her. She wasn't even posing. That's how lucky I am.
Yeah, I was kind of in my own world there.
She was just chilling.
Just chilling.
And I was like, this is how you.
I did have a feeling at one point that you might be recording me, but I think I just ignored it.
Well, I had my phone out.
Like, because I was like, I don't care what he's doing. I'm doing me. Like,
I just want
I
to show you
just
off.
like
'cause I was
trying
like,
to. Aw. Thank
I
you.
won. She's mine. I warned you guys. It's on Valentine's Day. I said, if any of you guys out there like Terry, I'm just as public service announcement, give up now because it's all over for you. I'm bragging now. Sorry. I'm just pleased. I'm just happy because I love Terry. So
Aw, shucks.
I'm happy.
Oh, Argolinus is gonna see his boy Rob Thomas. Okay. Get it, Argolinus.
Did you put the stream?
Oh,
on there?
Pinocchio's helicopter's here. Yeah, I did. I was gonna. Oh, I was gonna pin it, and I don't think I did. Shoot. Okay. Oh, there we go. You got. Oh yeah, you got the Dr. Pepper. You got Dr. Pepper. I got the real stuff. Okay, so what else? Okay, we're talking about getting rid of that. I do have some other cult stuff in the house though that I gotta get rid of. But that like
I don't know about any other stuff.
I do have other stuff to get rid of. I know.
Terry. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm a little maybe not today, but yeah,
Maybe not.
we could do
tomorrow.
we could do it this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it this weekend. Tomorrow, maybe Saturday, Saturn's Day, the Sabbath. You want to talk about the Sabbath? No.
I mean,
Okay.
the Sabbath sundown. Oh, sundown.
Yeah.
gonna rest it up.
Yes, it'll be Sabbath soon.
Well, I guess we should say, for those who don't know, I moved to Portland.
Wait, who are you talking to in the chat?
I'm just letting people know. Like,
Yeah.
Some people don't. Maybe.
Oh.
And I'm working full time down here, so. So yeah, me and Terry hang out. we like to go out. I'm learning that. Oh, he can't hear. He says,
Who can't hear?
"Can you guys hear me?" I like Jordan Peterson.
Tidy my room or Jordan Peterson might cry. Jordan Peterson doesn't tidy his room.
No, but he tells young men like get their act together, and he's like, "What can we do?" He's like, "Clean your room."
Okay, well
Make
he
your
can
bed.
he can do it first.
He tells young
I've
men.
seen his I've seen his nest behind him before.
Well, I mean, I think he's trying to be
Like-
encouraging. He's telling young men, look, like start small,
Yeah.
like make your
Okay.
bed in the morning, then clean your room.
I do need to tidy this room a bit.
It's not about you; it's about boys.
Well, okay.
So they,
I'll leave it then.
so he's not being mean or like cruel. He's saying like, look, start small, do more the next day. It's a message from him, and so he's being.
Jordan Peterson. Did Pinocchio pay? Yeah, that's weird. Pinocchio's helicopter. What? Less than entertainment. What? Less than 3.
That ain't
Less than 3. Didn't that be like Heart back in the day? People would say less than 3 to one another.
Never heard of it.
Oh, I feel like that was
It's
something
hard.
when I was in high school or something, or just out that
Well,
people did
it's
when we
that.
were. Yeah,
Which is a heart, right?
yeah, it's a heart.
It's,
Oh, what is it?
looks like a plane.
Do you think it's Mina's channel? I don't think it is.
Mina
She-
couldn't make that stuff.
Mina wouldn't do that.
Mina can barely rub 2 sticks together.
Oh,
She lives
Maybe.
out in the boonies and eats spiders. They're huge where she lives. They're huge. She eats kangaroo.
do they eat those?
Yeah, she eats kangaroo meat.
Oh,
That's what they have.
Mina is a guy called Aircraft Sparky. That's his main account.
Really?
Whoa, you mean Mana doesn't exist? My Australian friend doesn't exist?
Who knows? She could be a man, but we know.
Whoa. Shout out to Jordan though.
If,
Who's
if man is a
Jordan?
man,
Oh, River Jordan.
she is quite feminine, retarded. Or maybe I'm just like tripping. But she comes off like a serious woman with an attitude. You know what I mean? She
Mana-
seems like a woman.
Mina's
with an
accusing him now of being Aircraft Sparky.
attitude. I don't
Man,
get it.
the way the guys come for Mina, it's insane.
No wonder she's so mean. She's funny. She's pretty hardcore though.
She is, yeah.
People know how to
I know
troll each other.
sometimes she
Yeah.
gets me. I'm like, what the?
There's just some crazy stuff. But
And then she'll be all she's like an evil, twisted like mother. You know what I mean? Because she's sometimes to me, she'll be like, maybe not mother. No, mother's a bit much. You know, like an older friend, like an older weird female friend. Like she's kind of like, I don't know, savage in some ways. And then she'll like, she'll be really savage at times and then like really sweet at others. Like it's tough. Maybe she's just like getting me addicted to the like roller coaster.
it's hard to say. She might be drunk half the time.
He's a dang idiot that has been on the Hague Report before, Terry. Okay. I didn't see that episode. I don't like when Hague has a guest. I mean, I do like a couple of his guests. But I don't know. Sometimes it's tough. I can't watch sometimes. I have to be like, oh. What was that one guy, the Django guy or the Jangle or something? I was like watching it and like try to follow that guy. He was interesting.
I'm at work. So
Yeah, you're working. I'm at work too, but I have it on in the background.
I guess I could do that if I wanted to, but
No, I get tired of it too. Like, especially when it's like, I don't know. Sometimes it's good to listen to, sometimes it's distracting, and sometimes I can't listen to it.
yeah,
Relax, Thunder from Down Under. You still a gator grabber in my book.
yeah, we don't hate me. We're like,
Oh man, that's funny. Mina axes for it, Chew. She axes for it.
you guys all in.
Court, if you don't sign with me, we done. Oh, dang. Jared Taylor and Jason Cohen. Jason Cohn. I don't know who that is.
Is that the
Who's
guy?
Jared Taylor? I don't know who either of them are actually.
Are they part of that band?
Are they the band?
I think they might be the people in that band.
That one band, yeah.
The one we were playing. That was recorded.
What band?
I don't know. I'm confused.
Nickelback?
Is that Nickelback? Is that Nickelback?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting. I think it's-
Nickelback. I remember one time I got on Facebook or something, there was a link and it was something that you would click on. It said, click on this to find out who the people on your friends list that you should unfriend. And it was like a list of the people on your friends list that liked Nickelback. I had 2 people on my friends list. I did not unfriend them, but
that's very kind of you. You should have.
no, not my aunt. What am I gonna? I'm gonna unfriend my aunt. Like, what kind of petty like stuff would that be?
Well,
Like,
he's talking about people.
I don't. Not
Like,
my family. Not my family. I'm not gonna do it with my family like that. Like, at least not some. If they've never done anything to like make me not want anything to do with them, like I'm gonna be Facebook friends with them. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna take them off for like a Nickelback.
I'd like to hear Skip Lug sing.
You'd like to hear Skip Log sing? That would be nice. Can we request that?
And-
Can you upload some videos of yourself
Yeah,
singing?
can you
Skip
upload?
Log?
Yeah, do like Creedence Clearwater.
Make him do the old man music.
Have you ever seen
the
the
rain?
rain coming down on a sunny day? Yeah, I bet you could do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. He does make guitars.
You make guitars?
He makes guitars. He makes beautiful guitars.
Hey, Skip, do you know
Court
who,
is a
do
genius.
you know who TV Jones is? Anybody out there know who TV Jones is?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We got to discuss this. I take offense to this. You two is trash.
What?
You're trash. Really? You two is trash? I disagree. NXS, like really? NXS is cool, but YouTube isn't? No. That's not even like fair.
That's like saying like
That's
oh,
ridiculous.
Oh, the Eagles suck, but Abba's really good.
What? Yeah, it's a bit like that.
Or like
I don't know. I'm just like, I mean,
hate
I
nonsense.
like NXS, but I think YouTube is a bit like, I don't know, deeper maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I keep saying like, excuse me.
Bono is a trashy warmonger.
Bono is a trashy warmonger. Yeah, I mean, like, you know what? His politics suck, but like, I love a lot of U2's music. Like, I can separate the art from the artist to a certain degree. And you know what? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna stop liking certain music that I grew up listening to, and like that's very deep to me in a lot of ways and is attached to a lot of memories. I'm not going to give that up because his politics aren't very like aligned with mine, you know? Tell them they deep, Terry. They are deep. Like, I know you two is so deep. Tell her Golden. The first two albums was cool. Yeah, they are. They're really amazing. They're very interesting albums. And I just, some of my earliest memories are like when my dad and I would go on these long road trips along like the Turnagain Arm, usually from Homer to Anchorage, which is like, I don't know, maybe 5 hours, maybe longer. I don't know, like morning drive, right? And we would listen to the Joshua Tree over and over again, like 5 hours.
What were you doing?
Driving.
What?
To go like, so Homer, there's only so many amenities for one, especially at the time.
When you travel to go
Secondly,
stores and stuff?
we would go to different towns for different reasons, but Anchorage, when we had to go to Anchorage, it was like 5 hours away. And that was where my dad's brother and his family lived.
Cool.
Yeah. So sometimes my dad would like, maybe he needed to see a doctor because he had a lot of health problems. So when he needed to see a doctor, he would have to go into like Anchorage. So usually my dad would drop me off with them and then he would like go take care of the business he needed to.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
5 hours, wow. What kind of car?
It was that pink Cadillac you saw.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a cool car. It was like tough. I don't remember. I don't know what year it was. It was old though,
It's like
but
a
it was
70s,
classy.
like a 70s.
Loved it. Yeah, it was probably from the 70s.
Cadillac.
It was cool.
Thing of floats. Tank.
It was a tank. It was a total tank.
It was. That should have been your first car.
I know.
If I had a
We
daughter, I
didn't hold on to it though.
Oh, okay.
I know. I would love to have a daughter in a like car like that. You know, solid.
Metal tank.
God, it's beautiful.
5 hour trip's a long way.
I think it was my grandmother's car, and my dad like bought it off of her or something like that, or maybe she gave it to him. I know. No, I asked him to. I wanted him to, Mina. I'm not ticked.
What?
Like it was me that made the decision.
Oh yeah, it was her idea. I didn't even really.
He didn't. I mean, you did say something like that. You did think we should get rid of it, but I'd already made the decision at that point, and then we got rid of it together.
Hi, Nick. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, Nick's here.
I posted your commentary, which I thought was quite.
Jamie is so Baptist. He drinks grape juice and gets hammered.
Almost.
I do get hammered off of that grape juice when we do communion.
I've had communion more at her church than I've had for so long because like
Oh, really?
they
I'm
do
glad
it
to hear
once a
that.
month. Baptist churches. My church does it like once every 3 months.
I love that we do it regularly. It's important.
They do it the same way. We do the same. We buy the same
Little bread.
nuggets.
Yeah,
We
little
have the
bread
same
nugget.
cups. They order the same thing that holds them from the same companies. I'd like to have a communion where they just like have like you said, the agape meal. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, we do that sometimes, which is
I
nice.
think that's how
Yeah.
it looked in the early church.
We can also do it as Christians ourselves, like
Yeah.
at our own table. Like maybe we should do one.
I'll be frank with you. I think I don't really think it's wrong or anything as far as, but I feel like the way Baptists and Adventist churches do communion, and it's fine and it's good that they do it and they should. I just think a lot of it's just kind of inherited, just sort of like their view on ordination and priesthoodness stuff. It's just, it's like a modified inheritance from what I think wasn't what the originally idea was, but not that there's a big deal that that's so wrong, but just that I think in the early church, they probably were just like, hey, let's remember that Jesus purposely came to earth and laid down his life for us. And let's remember this meal commemoratively, because he does say, do it in memory of me. It's not like Passover meal, but it's like, it's just saying like, look, stay in community and remember what Jesus did and eat this and drink this to remember that.
Yeah.
And remember like how it's, I think that's what it really is. Community, communion, and remembering what Jesus did. It's not about having wizards make you eat magic food. If you don't do it, you're not going to go to heaven because God can't forgive your sins unless you really believe you're eating Jesus' body. But it's like, you're supposed to take it really seriously. She kind of thinks it's magic, but I don't.
I do think it's magic.
But
I don't think it's magic.
Yeah.
It's not magic. It's not magic. It's, for me, I think it is like, when I do it, that's how I feel. Like I'm taking in the
Sure.
body and blood of Christ, and it's strengthening me, and it's, healing me. I see it as this kind of act that
Magic.
I don't think that the pastor who prays over it or anything like that makes it what it is. It's the experience of when we take it, remembering him, and the sacrifice, all the sacrifice it takes, in the love of the people who make our food, to the most simple bread. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like this. We're taking on Christ. We're taking in the body of Christ, which is that love that creates the world, and all of life.
Yeah.
So
that's real.
Does it become his literal flesh? I don't know, but spiritually, that's how I feel. I'm eating his flesh and drinking his blood, I guess, like a vampire. Maybe. It's gruesome in when you think of it that way, but when you think of it in terms of blood, sweat, and tears,
internalizing what he did for us.
Yeah, and what we're carrying because he did that.
You have to do it or you're not saved, right?
Hey, bread of life,
hey,
good
Rebecca.
to see you.
If you don't do it, you don't.
Am I healing Jamie? You think so? From what? Well, I mean, we all need healing, right? We all need healing.
Make my finger.
Until we're, given that glorified body that Stump loves to talk about. Yeah, you're right, Maina. Yeah, I tell you, they can't handle me.
Who?
The gay guys.
Oh dear.
She's like, he must be pretty straight to put up with you. Or me, basically. Sal. Welcome, Cecil.
Yes, Cecil.
Hola. I apologize in advance because my daughter has been super loud lately. So she's going to be screaming.
Yeah, I loved doing that when I was little, figuring out how loud I could be. It was so thrilling.
She's definitely doing that. Hi, guys. You guys look so freaking adorable. It's insane.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm trying to figure out how to get the light.
You're a beautiful, beautiful couple. And congratulations. Yeah, I just saw right now that you were like, Jamie helped me, get rid of all that stuff. And it's just, that's how it is, how God sends us the people that are going to help us get closer to him.
I think so.
Yeah.
Amen.
Oh, she fell.
Oh.
Hopefully one day our students will have little kids.
Yeah.
Oh.
That'd be tough though. I don't know. It's hard because I don't want our kids to become I don't want them to be on camera too much.
Yeah.
It's not as if they pop in sometime that I'll mind, naturally, but I want it to be kind of careful.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, that's what I said.
No, because they're young, they don't have really the ability to understand what's going on and Yeah, put out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have little kids that do live streams and they just pop in suddenly.
yes, I mean that's natural, that's normal, but
I'm
like,
doing my live stream. I told you not to come in. We're like, oh.
remember during like COVID when that news anchor guy had his kid come in the room and then his wife coming after him?
Yeah.
Oh my God, these kids. Yeah, that was such a classic. That was hilarious. The guy.
It was so sweet.
Dude, how many kids do you have? Like 7?
Dude, it's only 2. It's a boy and a girl.
There's
They're
always-
insane. They're so loud. Oh my God.
It's funny.
But I've heard, you know what? I've heard things that now with content creators, there's laws being passed to parents for like if you've been recorded, like and digital has contributed to like, finances. It's dicey. Like you have to be careful because you don't want to turn your kids into like, you know, because they're like those family bloggers and stuff, and they'll, you know, they'll turn their kids into like their content.
Just give them some
And-
whiskey. Give them a spoonful of whiskey.
It's good.
Yeah,
Whiskey and honey, it'll put you to sleep.
My
If you're-
my husband doesn't even let me post pictures of the kids on Facebook to the family and stuff. He's extremely he's very serious about that. Oh my God, seriously? Yeah,
You know what?
so
I think
I could
fair.
never be like those mommy vloggers or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I have kids. I'll have a gun, so come get me.
Okay. Who's gonna come get you?
Well, I mean, I just, I'm not sure what people are worried about, but I get why people want to stay private. It's fine.
No,
I have lots of friends
I'm
with
more
kids.
concerned about like the kids just being like, you know, out there and like people knowing about them. It's like,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
like advertising, I guess.
yeah, or you know,
Like, I get it.
more than normal or natural, you know. Like there's
Right.
certain things that are okay to know or something, but like, I don't know. Yeah. I just wouldn't want them to be like you in the public eye. The kids deserve privacy. That's it. That's all I think. You know, they're young, they're developing their privacy.
What does your husband say about it, Cecil? Or do you not want to say?
I don't know. Sorry. I couldn't hear you, Jamie. What did you say?
What's the, like, you want to say what the reason you think why you guys wouldn't have your kids on camera? I'm just curious, like, what would you say?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Because specifically my husband's job, number one, and number two, some of my one of my brothers and some of his family too, they've gotten Facebook accounts and all their pictures and everything is like gone, and then they try to get it back, and then you only God knows who is doing what with your children's pictures. What that's another reason. Privacy, yeah, but more than anything, just because there's so many, especially because there's so many pedos out there. So he's really aware of the evil in the world. So that's why he wants to mostly keep all of us offline, really.
Yeah.
Me, he's okay with me like using my picture, my face, or whatever, because I'm a grown woman and I have guns and stuff like that. Yeah, but not the kids.
Right.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, people
And
get
yeah,
people get
I
really
mean-
creepy. I felt compelled to show people my gun because they're getting creepy with their. And you don't know if someone's just messing around, but like, oh, I know your cat's name and your address is here. oh, I didn't know that. And then they'll leave like other creepy messages that are really rude or mean.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
weird.
they start leaving random messages. Well, I know your cat's names, and someone did that to me, and I was like, this guy wants to
That's
know.
scary. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's creepy, right? So you really do have to be careful. It's really easy to be naive,
Yeah.
for sure, if you're not careful.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
What's the chat saying, Terry?
I'm looking into it. Something about a good Christian middle school. I did not go to a good Christian middle school.
Me neither. I always went to public
I
school.
went to the crazy middle school. My dad was so pissed that we got zoned with that school. But you know what? I ended up liking it. Oh, gross. Some guy is flashing his wiener at me.
That happened to me too, Terry.
Or I don't think it's his. I think it's just a video. Wow. How rude.
Oh no, that happened to me in high school.
It just happened to me right now. Like some guy came in the back and was like playing.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my God, what the heck?
No.
As soon as Jamie leaves, that's crazy.
They do that. Like, oh my goodness.
I wonder what Jamie's gonna say when he comes back, and you tell him.
Should I tell him? I don't know.
Yeah, tell him.
Okay.
Let's see what his reaction is.
Thank you, Halim. Says I look so pretty today. Aw. I know. This is why women can't be left alone, guys. This is what happens.
Yeah.
Ugh. Man, okay. So I listened to that book, Pigs in the Parlor.
Oh, what did you think?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was good. I liked it. It definitely has me thinking about just different things to be like praying about, for one. It's definitely informed like some prayer I've had over the past couple of days. I mean, I think it helped like me just like let go of those tarot cards. And then, I don't know, like I'm also thinking about like just what I need to be praying for like in this community, especially. Clear about what kind of demons I need to be casting out, you know.
Oh, I didn't tell you, Terry. I thought I had the thought, I was like, I have to find Terry on Messenger and like send her a private message. Dude, after our conversation that night, remember that night that we were talking about that?
Yeah.
I felt like it was like an important conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did too.
Well, I had a horrible dream. I had a very, very demonic dream that night, and it was a spiritual dream. It literally it was a demon attacking me. And then that morning there was a big black dog staring at me in my backyard, dude. I'm in the kitchen, I'm making coffee, blah blah blah. I turn and there's a black dog, because the doors in the back of my house are, you know, like French doors, like windows. And it turned out that it was a neighbor's dog, but still, that's never happened before. It was very creepy.
It was a neighbor's dog, but you know, the demons could have chased that dog, because the thing about black animals is that they are kind of like guardians in a way.
Yeah.
That black fur is protective, and they protect people from like spiritual attack. So when you see one, like it's a warning that there's like danger near.
Mm-hmm.
I totally feel what you're talking about. I need to definitely get way more aligned about this and like get rid of everything quickly.
Not this one.
And like, no. Nero is a protected cat. He's definitely shown me like spiritual things. I think he was drawn to me because of like honestly
Yeah.
the work he would need to do.
Yeah.
Especially this poor male cat has been through hell because of me, honestly, if I think about it.
She babies him.
I do baby him because he deserves it.
Cute.
He's
Who
adorable.
loves me?
Jamie.
Like,
Terry, tell Jamie what happened as soon as he left.
as soon as you walked out, this guy came in the like backstage and was playing a video of him, or I don't think it was him, it could have been, or just a man like
Exposing himself.
yeah, exposing himself basically. Like there he is. That's the guy. This is the one. That was his name. God, what the hell?
Get lost, bro.
Block him. That's
I
disgusting.
am, but like
People do that. They go around and because you can go high five.
you know what? Yeah, that demon was like saying that you were encroaching on their territory and they didn't want you to.
Exactly.
Esau, the dream she was talking about, and the like that dog appearing, like that gave me like a lot of clarity. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I knew the dream. I knew it meant something, and I knew the dream meant something, and I did pray in the morning and stuff. But then that dog staring, and Terry, that never happens. Like there's everything here, like the fences and everything is perfectly well kept. So that never happened. So how did that dog get in my backyard? Yeah, it was wild. I prayed, and my mom helped me pray too.
Can y'all in the chat who pray please keep me in prayer at this time to as I like exorcise these demons from my home and life and body, you know? Like what the hell are they doing?
You know, the Bible says the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and only the violent take it by force. So it's literally and I think it's the war in our minds.
Right, and that's what's interesting. The dynamic of spiritual forces. I mean, that runs to the Old Testament. And Paul grabs that and brings it into the New Testament. And we were talking about this earlier. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual forces in places that are behind the nations that oppose God. That's kind of like a general idea. It's like so we pray for individuals and we show them the love of Christ so that they might come to what is good, but we aren't naive and we recognize it, right? But like you can't be naive, but you're supposed to love people but not be naive, and that can be a hard road to walk.
Yeah.
How to straddle that, having a heart of love towards humans and knowing that there's spiritual powers that oppose God.
No, Adriana. She said, "Was the dog
It wasn't. It was like a big black, like German Shepherd mix.
Hey,
come here, me boy. He's been fed.
Yeah, but he might be upset because of what we're talking about. Like, I wonder, like, I worry about the spirits, like.
Best string of the cat.
Yeah.
You should pin your link.
I did pin the link.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I pinned it.
How's the weather down there? Hot today.
Was it hot today?
It was quite hot today.
I didn't even look at the temperature.
Yeah, it was hot in Texas too. It was like 80 degrees.
Yeah, it's starting to heat up here.
Yeah, it is. I guess it's May. It's probably to be. I can't believe it's May, I guess. I'm not kind of like. Maybe I'm just not ready for summer.
Portland is a great city, except for all the craziness. But like the metro system is really good. The layout of the city is really good. There's so many restaurants around. It's weird. There's like a weird mix of like there's zombies and stuff, but there's people working and
Zombies and Baphomet, and then like
Rich
people
people.
working, and then like
Working
the
class.
bougie people, the working class people. What else is there? Artsy people, hipsters. So many hipsters. I probably fall under that category. I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe.
There's so many historic churches around here too. And I document, you can see them on my channel, but like, I just, no prejudice, just Catholic, Protestant. There's so many historic churches in the city, and like, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you see people that are on these drugs and the way they
Oh.
move and like contort. Like we saw that yesterday. It was disturbing.
Oh, I didn't tell you. I
What?
was sitting outside on my phone. I think I was talking to my dad, and like, I was just sitting on the sidewalk. And the guy just walks up and he's like standing this close to me. And I was like, you all right? And
Whoa.
like, he was just like, yeah. And I was like, oh. And I like got up and turned and just walked away. And I was like, crazy.
Gosh. Oh, that would freak me out. If
And those
somebody
people, they just like, walk around, they go like they're just in
Yeah,
the
they're
and they'll
on
lay
drugs.
down in the middle of the street. I've been out there in the morning, and it's like there's this like
Yeah, it can be
people-
kind of tragic at times.
there's people out on the streets of downtown,
Hey,
like early in the morning when the sun starts coming up. Like I go to work early, and like so sometimes I have jobs down here, and like they will be laying down in the middle of the sidewalk or under a ledge, and it's literally just a person with a tarp or a blanket totally covering their whole body real tight, so it just looks like a person in a cocoon, and they're just lying on the cement.
yeah.
They're just lying there like a body bag. It's weird. It's sad, but it's like these people, they don't really want help. They want to live that life, and it's really sad. And there's literally tents, and they move around because the cops will push them around, and then they'll just go to another block, and they'll have a tent.
I don't think they want to live that life. I think they're like under demonic oppression
Yeah, well, I
or
mean,
possession, even like when you're like,
I just mean
you
it's
know,
not
they're
against their
so-
will. It's not against their will.
no, I mean, there is help. There is hope.
Yeah.
For those who like seriously want to like, change their life, and do what is right and good, there's always, something that can be done.
Yeah.
Hi, come here.
I'm even for some of the liberal programs,
Oh, whoa.
but sometimes people need tough love and need to get arrested. I think for them to realize that
Yeah.
they need something better.
I don't know about that though, because I used to work really early, like back in the day downtown, and I felt like a lot of the people were working people.
Some of them.
Not,
just
I mean, the
supporting
people.
a drug habit, I guess.
No, like people like me going to work.
Oh,
and stuff,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm saying.
Or like going to school,
Okay.
know.
Well, in Seattle, if you have like a population of homeless in the downtown Seattle area, this is statistics I read a few years ago. I worked downtown Seattle, and I've said this before, but it's like, okay, they have a general idea that there's 10,000 homeless people living in the Seattle city limits,
Mhm.
which is a lot, by the way, crap load. And then they have all these rich companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, et cetera, Starbucks, and they get together $100 million to fight homelessness, and they spend $100 million, and the next year they do a count of how many homeless there are, and the population of the homeless rises, and $100 million is spent. They could have given each one of those people $100,000, literally bought them a crappy house that they'd own with that money.
Yeah, but a
Right,
lot of
but-
those people aren't even in the position to handle such a
Right,
responsibility.
and I wouldn't say, I'm not saying they should give them the money. I'm just saying that's how much money the city allocated to fight homelessness, and that their policies brought more people to live there homeless. It wasn't like there was a depression.
Yeah,
More people came there because of the money that was allocated to give them resources.
that's true. A lot of these people are migrant and they'll go to
They
where
do.
there's money, and like
It
the
was crazy.
sanctuary cities are the worst.
Yeah, so their policies don't work.
Mhm.
They're not being realistic. Sometimes you need to go in there and crack heads and like throw some of them in jail because they need a wake up call. I don't tend to think that way. I'm sort of liberal when it comes to like, I think they should have needle exchange programs to keep people from getting hepatitis. I think they should have, give people methadone or whatever to help them or whatever. It's better than them stealing and doing heroin. And it's like, but people have to want to use that appropriately, and they have to actually sometimes people have to hit rock bottom, and sometimes people die when they do that, but like don't facilitate it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, it feels like they facilitate and enable people to remain stuck, you know?
Yep.
It enables, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Drawing. Oh, I want to be a homeless person. I'm going to move to Seattle because our homeless is good there.
And that's a good shout out to Brooklyn 83 in the chat. Good to see you.
Good year.
My old friends. The epidemic of drug addiction is intentional policy, he says. I mean, you're right about that. You are right about that.
Well, the millions for solving, homelessness or whatever. How is that even possible when they want to be homeless? Like, let's pretend I have $1 million and I go out to the streets and I'm like, hey, guy, you don't have to be homeless anymore. Here, I can give you a house and a job and food and blah, blah. And they say, no, I don't want that. I want to stay where I am. That's why I'm here. Then what the heck are you supposed to do?
I know.
That's what they want. They want to be there.
Yeah, they
That's
got
why they're there.
because they're like people who own homes or own property, and then like they can't do business, and the business is closed down.
Yeah, that's the problem. The impact it has on other people, you know?
Yeah, it
And
ruins
like-
businesses. It ruins property values.
People feel sorry for them. And yeah, some of these people have been through like horrible things. For sure.
But we've all been through, Terry, come on, we've all been through horrible things.
Yeah, I know, but like, I agree. But there's a mama spirit that wants to come out and like,
Baby them.
yeah. And like,
And the thing is maintain. Like, you can give every single homeless, we could give them a house and a job, but then they would have to do the hard work of getting up every morning and, brushing their teeth, putting their clothes on, taking shit from their boss, taking shit from the clients. It takes a strong person, a responsible citizen to do that.
you're right. You're right.
Word.
It's true. It's true. I mean,
What up, Jamie?
hey, Brandon.
Hey man, good to see you.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
It's breaking up a little bit. I don't know if it's my internet or what. So, anyways.
You sound like you got a new mic.
Yeah. Oh, you got a new mic?
No, he sounds like you do.
Huh? No, I do not.
Oh, I don't know. You sound clear.
Going to the park with some fried chicken.
What?
BRB. All right.
Sounds good.
So, Jamie, I'm writing a book right now just because I got sick and tired of dealing with everybody on YouTube that wouldn't ever let me state my full position. So I
Nice.
decided to go ahead and write a book on it, dude, and it's turning out pretty awesome. I'm excited.
Cool. Yeah, let me know when you're done.
Yeah, it's getting pretty close. So, anyways,
Cool.
Okay, I was
Found out-
wondering if it was like a racist dog whistle type joke. Okay. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, what you're just laying out your theology?
Well, I caught a lot of flack on my position on, what's known as serpent seed doctrine, but I
Mm,
do not believe that, Satan begat Cain, but I do believe that what happened in the garden was something that altered human DNA, like
right.
something, supernatural, witchcrafty ceremony that, put a mark on our DNA. Because when he says, I'm going to sow enmity between your seed and the woman's seed, it's revealing, two seeds. And now, if you follow the trail of the promised seed that was going to come and crush the head of the serpent, which was revealed when, Christ was born. So, anyways, it's, that's where I've caught a lot of flack on it. So that's why I got sick and tired of trying to argue my position. So I'm like, I'm writing a book. And dude, now this thing has just unraveled into a really cool project in hopes
Cool.
to eliminate all false doctrine.
What do you? Let me ask you one question about that. So, like, I've heard people, like, when Jesus says, "You're of your father, the devil, and your vipers,"
Yeah.
I don't think he was being literal. Do you? In the sense of
Yeah.
like
And
their genetics, but it was more their spiritual state because they weren't
no, a
following
lot of
God.
people,
So Jesus said, "If you're not with me, you're against me." And of course, he calls Satan the accuser. Like Satan's the accuser, right? So, like, don't you think that's more of like a spiritual issue regarding people not following God and following not God?
well, this is where the questions came to mind for me was, okay, wait a minute. So if we're adopted, then who do we get adopted from? And then where did this sin nature come from?
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a. Sorry.
What did he have, like a contact fallout or something?
Yeah, I think so. That's what it looked like.
Nice. So anyhow, I saw some videos of you guys in the park and stuff. Are you in a wheelchair?
Yes, I am a wheelchair user.
Okay, I didn't know. So, anyways, I was surprised by that. I was like, oh, I mean, are you injured or like permanently in a wheelchair?
Um, I have a condition like autoimmune that's caused a bit of damage to some of my joints. So I have a lot of pain from it. So I use the chair to get around.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you by any chance familiar with Dr. Andrew Kaufman?
No.
He has a YouTube channel. He's a really good actual doctor, and his whole position right now, why the medical community don't like him, is because he's pointing out how come we're not taught anything about nutrition as doctors? We're only taught chemicals.
Well, because they're there to push medicines for drug companies.
Sure. So, but
Yeah,
he's
and they
all
call
about
that.
yeah. He points out a lot of really good information as far as natural ways to heal things and whatnot, proper diet, this and that.
Oh, you sound like an Adventist.
Who, me?
Yeah, that's like.
Brooklyn says the seed of the serpent are the humans who serve Satan's system. They have their daddy. They have their father, the devil.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like, I was just saying, you could still. I would say, okay. My point was just that I think Jesus is just talking about people who serve Satan and not God willingly. Because I'm not like a determinist. So then the question becomes, when you're talking about Jesus, certainly isn't using it to say, oh, the Pharisees are literally like in the wrong genetic line. He's saying they're spiritually, they need to be born again, right? Born from above, receive the Holy Spirit, you know. I think
So
they were
here's
cute.
where I'm going to throw a whole new angle at you, man.
Okay.
This is where, when you start to view this under a legal lens, you see that, the first covenant made with Adam was with Adam when he gave him dominion over the earth. It's like a trust. A trust is a contract, and Adam was basically made the trustee.
That's fine.
So anyhow, this is where this whole thing turned into a major legal issue, what happened in the garden, and God even had to command Eve that her desire would be towards her husband.
Right.
So,
So even the good line required decision to follow God. So that's why I say that's fine.
well,
That's right.
but he says, I'm going to put enmity. I'm going to, they're going to be at
Right.
war. That's pure hatred between this seed and the other seed. So it clearly reveals Satan has a seed.
Yeah, I just don't think it's because they're related to literal Satan in the sense of like you're
Well, this is
born lost, and you're opposing God by birthright.
so.
That's
Check this out.
problematic, man.
Well, hold on. So anyhow, when this happened,
Okay.
he put like a mark on the DNA, and only pure sinless blood could remove that mark. This is why the next round of Mark of the Beast is so crucial. So that, but that's what I'm saying as far as this is the legal reason, because he by using Adam's love for Eve against him, he got Adam to break the covenant with God and form a covenant with him when he ate of the fruit, when he was standing right there next to Eve. He failed in his duties. So this is what caused
When you're done with your thing, I'll read it. So I'll take a look at it. I'll critique it if you want. Or like I'll review it. I mean,
Sure.
it'll be
No, I
fun.
thought you might be interested in that. That's where that's and looking at everything through the legal lens has been an absolutely mind-blowing experience, because now this is why doctrine is so crucial. And Paul even told us, you guys are supposed to be of one mind, on the same page here, not
Yeah.
1,000 different brands of Christianity. You know what I mean?
My brand is justification by faith, righteousness by faith, believing God, and then I think the statement from the Old Testament is still true. What is the whole duty of humankind? Fear God and keep his commandments. That's the whole duty of man. And so we're in a binding situation that we haven't kept his commandments. So we have to throw ourselves in the mercy of God, which is received through the sacrifice of Jesus. And then from there on, you receive the Holy Spirit, and God changes you to be a better witness to bring more people into the kingdom.
Well, the law is the constitution of God's kingdom.
That's
And that his laws are actually like borders for your protection, and it's a jurisdictional matter because of the the legal adoption issue, the property rights issue. And this is where God will never violate law. He will always honor law. He's not going to win by breaking the law. This is he does it by fulfilling the law.
Yeah,
That's
Jesus
why
never sinned. God does. The Bible says in numerous places, God does not change. And the only way that that's true is to mean by God's character never changes. In other words, he's consistent and loving. He is love. God, I am God, I change not. Jesus is the same today, yesterday, and forever. God is love. What that all means is God is steadfast. He doesn't, his love is steady. It never fails. And that's reflected in his character, which is given to us for bearing his image. As image bearers made in the image of God, we're meant to have the liberty of walking in the love that reflects God's character given in codified commandments and demonstrated by Jesus' life.
Sure, but I mean, this is where we were made ambassadors, so that's
Yeah.
where it's our duty to reveal and show the truth. So this is where it also applies to God's consistency in law when he's talking about he never changes. Because
Right.
in Psalms 33:5, he loveth righteousness and judgment. The earth is full of the goodness of the Lord. That's God's law, the perfect law of liberty. It's present in all law. All law is religious.
Well, if you do, you should look up the blue stone study. It talks about God, like in Exodus 24, God comes down on Mount Sinai on his throne, and it's made out of semi-transparent stone that's the color of the sky, right? And God cuts the commandments out of that stone. And then the other Psalms say, justice and righteousness are the foundation of your throne. It's talking about God's government, and he cuts the commandments from that. Like
Right.
literally in Exodus 24. So it's cool. Anyway.
Well, anyway, this is why it's important, because your doctrine is your testimony.
Good.
It's going to blow a lot of people's minds, man.
No, I think that's true.
Doctrine is a very broad term in the New Testament, I think. So it's like,
But it's a
it's
legal
just
term.
legal.
That's why people
legal.
don't understand it. They don't look at it as a legal term.
Right.
Doctrine is a total legal term.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting tired.
Sorry.
No,
let me go
okay.
to-
Yeah, well, yeah.
I saw Jamie was on, so anyways, that's why I was like, "Hey, man,
No, you're fine. You guys, I'm
I'm
just
about ready to wrap this up." But anyways,
No,
it's
I can
when
go a
people,
while.
yeah. When people,
I think I'm wondering, yeah.
Well, the sun's going down. I gotta go. I got a Sabbath.
Yeah.
Well, it's exciting because it does reveal our actual authority and power that we have now, if we know how to use the law lawfully, because of our, we have already got citizenship in New Jerusalem as
Right.
believers. And this gives us a lot of authority and power. But if you're ignorant of how to use the law, then you're just going to be the victim of this corrupt fucking Roman system that we're back under. This ain't America no more, buddy. We're back under Rome. That's statutory law. That's why this whole legal system is all about making money. It cares less about justice.
Well, we have an American Pope now. Everything's going to favor.
What was
What?
that? Sorry?
The new Pope is American. Did you hear that?
I don't know anything about him though.
I don't either. The new Pope is American. It's the first American-born Pope.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not worried about this guy.
Leo the 14th.
I do believe. I do. My serious hunch is the Antichrist is going to be a pope.
Right.
Well, that's there.
Well, so
many
the
will come
Antichrist.
in my name.
Well, if you read Daniel 7 and you see how Revelation 13 uses it, and then you realize the fourth beast is Rome, and the woman riding the beast is the system, it does have to be.
No,
has to have
the
some
woman
relationship
riding the
to Rome.
beast. The woman riding the beast is the Catholic Church, the
Right.
mother of harlots.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, what the text demands would be that has some connection to Rome, but that could be
Mother of harlots just mean that she manufactures false religions. That's her
Yeah.
function.
and it has a relationship to Rome, but that has a historical context. But let's not go there right now.
Sure. You're like,
That's a
whoa.
huge study. I was just going to say Paul does draw from Daniel 7 in 2 Thessalonians. the book
Paul
of
does
Revelation.
what? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
2 Thessalonians 2 is clearly pulling from Daniel 7 and 8.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Brooklyn, that's kind of what my thought was.
What's that?
Have you considered that the woman riding the beast represents all false religion?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It's bad. They
Well,
use Babylon terms, Babylon.
So why is the Pope significant? Like, why would it come from the Pope in your eyes? Because there's a what?
Because the historical flow of Daniel 2 and 7 has a historical flow from Daniel's time through the New Covenant period. And the fourth kingdom comes after the church is established, and it's a woman is riding the beast. So it's like apostasy. And then Paul talks about apostasy within the church, or within the believers in the New Covenant. And so it depends on how you interpret. If you take that as a historical flow.
You're gonna flip out, dude, when I show you the whole legal aspect to this thing. I'm just telling you right now. Yeah, I've considered all of the interpretations, but I'm telling you that it's rock solid.
Right on
The
it.
Whore of Babylon is the church. It's the Catholic Church, dude.
Well, it certainly seems like it was during the Dark Ages, but
Well, you take into account, the Inquisitions, all of the burning of the Bibles. They're responsible for all of these Bible perversions. And this is where I also show when you're looking at contractual congruency, you have a huge, huge problem with all of these other Bible versions. The King James Bible is the only one that is perfectly contractually congruent and legal.
well, let me comment on this real quick. I'll just say this as it's brought up. The 10-horned beast is governments, and you can take that as a broad view of governments, but like it seems to be the European nations, like the Lombards and all the ones that become all the European nations. And so depending on your view of how to interpret that, if you continue on how Daniel
I'm agreeing with you. I think you're on the right track there as far as yeah, that's the right now with all the climate change bullshit, that's why the Catholic Church and the UN are cuddling up, dude. And if people are paying attention to the Noahide laws and the Abraham Accords, you've got the Jews, the Catholics, and the Muslims all coming together to fight the big bad boogeyman. And now they're kind of uniting. And in a one world government system, they'd already have majority vote.
Yeah, the final Antichrist is quite clear because Paul says, like 2 Thessalonians 2, that the man of sin will be revealed in his time. That's a future event, Paul, when he's writing that. And he's warning the church about that. And then he talks about the great apostasy, which means it's a falling away from the truth because of false understandings of the gospel. And then he says that it's figure, which he gets from Daniel. Paul is using the language from Daniel 7 and 8. And then he says, he's warning them about Jesus' second coming and the resurrection of the dead and our gathering together to him forever. And he says, but that apostasy, that man of sin will not be revealed until the great apostasy happens first. So it hadn't happened yet in his day, but he was predicting it. It's apocalyptic. And that's used in Revelation. So Paul says, before Jesus comes back, there will be an apostasy among believers. And then out of that, this man of sin will be revealed. And then Jesus destroys that position of power with the brightness of his coming and the breath of his mouth at the return of Jesus when he resurrects the dead and gathers the saints together. So like that's unbreakable. It's Second Thessalonians 2. I have studies on it on my channel, but that's all I'll say about that. So like there's a historical precedent for the beast power. It is about the world governments. And the final one, though, seems to make a coalition with all religious authority and political authority.
Oh, dang.
What's that?
Is this now the Jamie
No.
Strange stream?
I'm our guest tonight.
So what do you think about the the feet that are miry clay and iron, where it says they will mingle their seed with the seed of men?
Seems like it's a spiritual, which can mean angelic.
Do you believe the
But
sons
I
of
think
God?
it doesn't cleave though. It's unable. So it's like a final rebellion with spiritual powers, which is very well reflected in Paul's claims that I quoted earlier about principalities and powers, not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, spiritual darkness in high places. That's where I take it to be kind of like an attempt of a reincursion that could relate to Genesis 6 and the
Well,
and that's
do you think Genesis 6 is the sons of God are angels?
I'm agnostic, but I do think that's probably there's something going on there where like Paul describes that as happening now, that maybe perhaps God doesn't allow that to happen now because he destroyed it, and those angels are held in judgment in chains of darkness until the final day of God's wrath. You know, that's a warning. God, he's like, look, like the angels who sinned, and like when God destroyed the evil men and angels in the flood and is holding them until the final day of judgment and darkness, and the darkness mist is reserved forever and ever for them. And then he relates that to the coming judgment, and he warns men. I mean, you can go to 1 Peter 3, and you can go to 2 Peter 3, and you can go to.
Are you thinking of Jude 1:6-7, where
Jude
it
1,
says, "And the
6, yeah.
angels which kept not
not
their
the
first
estate,
estate,
Yeah,
but
went
left
after
their
Satan.
own
Right.
habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains unto
Yeah.
darkness, unto the judgment of the great day, even as in Gomorrah and cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to
Yes.
fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire." So that's clearly saying, even as Sodom and Gomorrah is announcing this was a sexual perversion, this was sexual
Yeah,
sin.
there's angelic influence there, and apostate humanity who's been given over to doing severely perverse things to the point where God had to rain judgment and destruction upon them.
Well, that's where this contamination, remember in Braveheart where the king says, "I grant prima nocta,"
Yeah,
and he says, if we can't drive the Scots out, we'll breed them out. That's the same strategy that Satan is using with the whole, you know what I mean, with the whole
yeah.
seed situation, and this
I
is
just
why
don't take
all
that to be a
flesh
genetic
had corrupted
issue,
its way
right?
before the flood.
It's an interesting dynamic of this spiritual and genetic sort of. There's like this angelic thing, spiritual thing, but it's also, like in the flood, like God seems to destroy them because of what the angels did, but it's also says over and over several times, man, the heart of man was continually evil. Man.
Yeah.
So God said he would destroy man, and it grieved him that he had made man. Like he uses that language. Sorry.
Just to respond here, I didn't record it myself. Like, yeah, Jamie did record himself throwing away the cards, but for me, it's not something that I would have thought to videotape.
I did it for the record. She threw them in the garbage bag. I held it open, and then I hauled them off to the garbage.
Well, you helped me get them off the shelves too.
Yeah, I pulled them out.
And then
she grabbed them and then put them in the garbage bags. And those are hefty garbage bags, and they were getting tested. So I had to use 2 bags. And then I videotaped once I took them out and put them in the
bags. So what, are you from Chicago or something? Or what was that? When you said bags.
I said bag. I meant bags. Garbage bags.
Have you ever lived in Chicago or anywhere
No,
around
I'm from
there?
Seattle.
From Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, sorry.
So yeah,
those
that's
were
how
nice bags.
we started this stream.
Yeah.
talking about getting rid of all these tarot cards that Terry had.
Yeah.
Did you say tarot cards?
Yeah, like tell him.
Yeah, you should totally get rid of tarot cards, man. You know what I mean? You don't want to play with
Yeah.
none of that crap.
Well, I haven't played with them for many years, but I don't know, I hadn't let them go. I mean, a big part of it was also just the amount of labor it was for me to like take them down and try to throw them out, how heavy they are. So you were a big
Well,
part of help with that. Like,
I do the heavy lifting.
but it was
That's-
also an emotional process getting rid of them because of all the like attachment, you know, it was a real severing of like,
Yeah, she didn't use them or anything for anything.
it was a real severing of a like time in my life that was very dark. And I guess it was just kind of, I felt called to pray throughout the process, you know, and kind of like just, I
Yeah,
don't know,
but
like
my
pray for
grandma
the people that I knew, pray for like, you know, just with, you know, getting rid of this stuff. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
let me break this. You know, this is what my book also reveals is that God set up all of these borders for our protection, and once we transgress or cross that border, now you're in Satan's jurisdiction. So
Yeah.
now the accuser is going to go file a permit to fuck with you,
Mhm.
and God might grant him the permit. You know what I mean? In simple terms. God
Yeah.
is still sovereign. He still runs the show here.
Right.
And that's where, Satan is a prosecuting attorney, dude.
Well, you see that language throughout the New
I'm
Testament.
not concerned about my eternal like salvation, but I definitely want to do everything I can to like just sever like any kind of, and I want to have God to have sovereignty over my home, you know,
Absolutely.
especially
Draw nigh
moving.
unto me, and I'll draw nigh unto you. God promised.
Yeah, and I know that he has it over like my life, and he's been my rock, you know.
So here's
But
what I've also.
I do see how this stuff has like also kept things dark. Darker
This is
than
what I. Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say that one thing that I've revealed in my book is the exact reason why David was a man after God's own heart,
Mhm.
even though he messed up huge, because he loved God's law. He all through Psalms 19, he declares, "I love thy law. It is my freedom." That's why it's called the great law of liberty. It's true freedom.
Yeah.
That's why God's saying, "Look, kiddo, just stay in the boundaries, man, and you can, you can live it up. But I put these boundaries here to protect you because there is an enemy that, if you step too far over the borderline, and you're dancing around in his playground, he's a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour."
Mhm. And he
You
did
don't want-
devour me for a while, but
Read Psalm 119 carefully. It's awesome.
no, it's beautiful.
Rivers of waters run down my cheeks, for they keep not thy law. All thy
Mhm.
commandments are righteousness. I love them great more than fine gold. He's like, all of us, like, Psalm 118 ends, and Jesus is like, I'm the good shepherd. He's like, David's like in Psalm 119, he's like, all we have gone astray, like sheep have gone astray, but I will remember your law. And then Jesus says in Isaiah 42:21, that the suffering servant would come and he would magnify the law and make it honorable.
See, the honor right there. These are all of the principles of law
Of
that
love.
people are missing, and that's why. How many professing Christians today, you think love God's law?
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's what one of my main goals to doing any sort of ministry
under the
online
law,
is
we're
on
under
to
grace.
fight people who are who act like the law is bad in that way. They put grace in the law as though they're against each other. No, grace because we are sin, God's mercy, we're supposed to repent of breaking his commandments. They're good. We're supposed to see them like David and then see the mercy of the need for Jesus because of that. That's the gospel. It's the gospel that you look, the law is a mirror. Paul says the law is a mirror. So you see that you're a sinner and you need the mercy of God. And then the Holy Spirit empowers you to follow God's law because it's good. Not put people under the law of Moses.
Well,
Oh,
without laws, there can be no
Especially
freedom.
Yoda.
Because all you wind up with is chaos, which leads to tyranny.
Oh my gosh. Oh
People
my
don't real.
goodness.
People think deliberate. It's
It's
funny.
so dumb.
People think that that's
It's so dumb, but it's funny. Okay. Sorry.
yeah. I was just saying like people are very confused about that.
Absolutely. That we're under grace. You're talking about legalism. Like, dude, no, I'm totally not, you idiot. See, once you're adopted and you're an heir, once you're in the bride of Christ, the bride of the Lamb, now you have authority, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. So that's why, now you have authority, and that's where you're not, you're not under the law. You're in the law now. You're a witness.
I see your
You're going to be on the witness stand. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Look at his eyes.
yeah,
Yeah, they're like
boy.
they were glowing and the light
That's
was
good.
getting on them. Oh,
Cool.
oh wow.
Hey, me boy.
So is it
Yeah.
starting to warm up in, you guys are in Oregon, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is getting a bit nicer. Although I've been cold a couple times this week.
It gets breezy through
Yeah, there's a lot of
the buildings.
winds
bring
that
drafts.
whips through,
Are you guys near the beach at all?
like an hour and a half away from the ocean, but there are beaches along the Columbia
The
and
rivers
the
over. We
Willamette.
can walk down to the river.
There's actually a beach downtown.
I have like
called
5 half brothers and another half sister that live up in Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, nice. Lovely Eugene.
Are you guys
Yeah.
near Eugene at all?
No, Eugene is like 3 hours south.
Oh, is it?
It's way down there.
Yeah, it's
think
We're
it
like
it's a
was-
we're
drive.
practically in Washington.
It's a bit of a trek down to, yeah, we're at the north of Oregon, like right across the river from Washington.
Washington. The border between Washington and Oregon is like the Columbia River.
Yeah, Portland is called such because of the ports there along the Columbia and then the Willamette rivers.
Our
Helped
Lady is
establish
Jamie's
the
mom.
settlement here. Bar Lady.
Didn't know if you knew any other Irishes up there. That's all.
No, I don't. You.
What do you mean other Irishes? Like your last name?
Yeah.
I haven't met another Irish in a while. Like,
Oh, you
Yeah,
have met an Irish up there, huh?
not in Oregon, no.
Oh.
It's been a long time. You're so mean, Yoda. He's like calling my fake laugh and cluck. So mean.
You're big enough a clock.
Like, it was funny. It's funny that you have a troll. It's funny that you tick somebody off enough that they created a sock account. They're trolling you. Like, that's funny.
Dude, tell me, Yoda, my mom never watches my. I've seen my mom one time on my channel. I have 3,000 videos.
Oh, Mina. God, how rude. I would never let my sons marry a Terry. Jeez.
What's that?
What a mean
Terry
lady.
talks nice about you.
Every girl that I've ever met named Terry was always like a super cool party kind of chick. That's always cool to hang out with. I've never ever met a Terry that was a fucking pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
I'm-
Actually, yeah, all the Terrys I know are kind of chill
Every
people.
Terry girl I've ever known
Like,
is
yeah,
always
he's-
laid back, easygoing.
Yeah, can have fun, knows when to be serious, but is usually like,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
you.
has a, yeah, and not really. I've met, I mean, Terry's can be like, I feel like they have a presence, the ones I've known, that is maybe a bit strong, but not like not in a way that's like, none of them have ever like infringed upon me, you know, or left me feeling like, oh, that person really went out of their way to be nasty or something, you know, like every time I've had like a interaction with a Terry, I don't have a
It's
problem.
so funny, dude, because when I lived in Tahoe, we had this chick named Terry in our neighborhood and shit. And it was funny because, she was way laid back, but she was one of those kind of, your aura is purple. Wow. You know what I mean? She was one of those, but she was funny as hell, dude. She'd crack us up
Terry is a
all
man's
the time.
name. It
Huh?
can be Mana. Mana said Terry is a man's name. It can be, yeah.
I've known both, but more men too. But people say that
Yeah.
about women too.
It definitely is not short for Teresa. I am a
Did you know?
Terry, not a Teresa.
I'm sure some Terrorists get called Terry,
Yeah, they do sometimes, but
especially in the
it's
UK.
irritating when I'm Terry and I get called Teresa, and then people like,
No, you're Terry.
yeah,
People say that to me all the time. Too. Okay, James. I'm like, my name isn't James.
it's Jamie.
It's Jamie on my birth certificate. It's not a nickname.
Let's see. Terry pulled the Kamala Harris card. What's the Kamala Harris card? What color was the color's aura though? I used to see auras sometimes when I
read
like
about it.
gazed. I still see them with
I can
trees
hypnotize
sometimes.
you.
Don't. Please don't hypnotize me. Not today.
Not
Jamie
today.
got short shifted through. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Are you still SDA,
Not
Jamie?
at all. That's one of my.
Or are you SDA still, Jamie?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm a baptized member of the SDA church.
Are you baptized into your church? Or are you just
Yeah.
baptized?
Well, I was baptized at SDA church and became.
Okay.
I was
Well,
baptized.
I'm hoping my book will, get everybody to push all of the religious nonsense to the side and let's get real serious about what does this contract say? Covenant is a contract.
Yeah.
We might want to look at this in contractual terms.
Most people who are once saved, always saved don't like to go down that road. So I'll be interested to see.
What was that? Sorry.
Oh, I said most people who are once saved, always saved don't want to go that road.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
interested
me.
in what you're
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, I mean that's a big doctrinal error, man. Like you're a free will being. So if you choose, if it's your will to get out of the agreement, the contract, God's not going to force you to it.
Oh, I
you know
thought
what
you
I'm
were
saying?
once saved, always saved.
Huh?
I am.
No, I know you are,
Hmm.
but I thought you were Brandon. You
I
think you
do
can-
believe in once saved, always saved, because I don't know how you can unsee the truth. I just, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think-
And it's
Well,
also,
well,
once you've been imputed with his righteousness. Oh, that's why my mic was off. So anyway, let me do this. I'm trying to.
I think so, Seesaw.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, you hear better. You sound louder.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause I did
Another of this.
mic. Yeah. Yeah, I was having a hard time hearing you, so that's why I was gonna put on the headphones there, and that's why you weren't hearing me well. So anyhow, but yeah, but it actually gives us not only, we have rights, duties, obligation, performance in this contract, and when you understand that, boom, that's what unlocks the power, so to speak.
Well, I think people can and should have assurance. I just think the New Testament clearly teaches that you can apostatize from faith. And I just my view is like, look, if we're gonna say you go from death to life by being a believer, it just seems like there's people who stop believing. So I don't know. And some people have different views about it. I just see there's several texts that tell me that, like Paul's saying, look, you have to remain being a believer. And if you don't, does that mean that everyone who struggles is lost? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it seems like the call is to remain faithful. And if you're found a believer upon the resurrection, then you'll be saved. And you have assurance of that. That's
Well, how many people don't want to face the truth of Scripture? Because I mean, as far as I'm a post-trib, pre-wrath position, and a lot of people, a lot of people are all pre-trib because you don't want to face the truth of what the Scripture is saying. It's saying, if you're going to follow me, they're going to want to kill you and, bring you up to the synagogues and all of that stuff. And, for
I've done a lot of interacting with your view and pre-trib, and I'm historic premillennial post-trib, but I'm not the distinction of pre-wrath post-trib, but I am pre-mill. It's obviously right. And it's obviously pre-trib in my opinion. I don't think there's a separation between the church and Israel in the sense where when Jesus comes back, he comes just for the church and not Israel. No, there's just the new covenant people who are believers.
See, you're going to love my book too, because I can prove Israel is the bride, always been the bride, always going to be the bride. We're adopted into, we're in. That's why we're adopted in.
Yeah, Romans 11 is a key passage. Like, as soon as the fullness of the Gentiles comes in, then all Israel will be saved. To me, that means Gentiles are the ones outside of the covenant. They join the covenant through Jesus, and then all of Israel being saved means Jew and Gentiles in Jesus are saved.
Yeah, I heard about, but I haven't heard any. I don't know. Somebody in the chat earlier was saying he's like that, but they didn't say why.
Liberal, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I haven't looked into who he is or what his. Should we? I mean, we're not even Catholic.
Well, it's just because America is already under Roman occupation. The reason why is because nobody exercises the Constitution anymore. How many people do you think, if you went off the street and asked them, have you ever read the Constitution? They'll be like, no, no, I never have. Or have no clue what it is and what it's all about. So that's why we're losing it.
Person again. See, that's what that person did.
Gross.
What's up, Wild Heart? Did you come to the Lord yet, or what?
Hi, Wild Heart.
Again, Gemma. Good to see you.
What did you say?
I said hello, Tara, and hello, Jamie. Good to see you. And hello, Brandon English. Good to see you as well.
How you doing?
You play guitar, huh?
No, I own a guitar. I don't play guitar.
I play a little bit of guitar.
Yeah.
I used to back in the day, but I got rid of my guitar when I moved out of Arizona. I hadn't played it in so long.
So anyhow, have you come to the Lord yet, Wild Heart?
No.
No, huh? Nah, I'm gonna keep rolling with dice.
If the Lord exists, I still wouldn't worship him because he's an immoral, genocidal monster. But I would at least admit that he exists.
So here, this is where another reason, he is the perfect reason that I love, this project of what, I hate to say my book, you know what I mean? All I'm doing is just showing what the Bible says.
Yeah.
I'm just taking,
That's fine, and I don't care what the Bible says unless you can demonstrate.
Well, the reason why you should care what it says because it's contract. That's why it's called covenant. You might want to read the contract here. That's why, if you just use a little bit of common sense, you can obviously see that this universe did not come together from an explosion. There's guys used to navigate the seas with the stars. They can tell me what time the sun's going to come up in 30 years from now.
Right. Let me know when you finish your point.
I'm done. Yeah, I mean, how could you see this with your own eyes?
Can I finish?
For granted.
Can I finish a sentence without you interrupting? No one says that
Certainly.
the Big Bang was something from nothing. No physicist or scientist has ever said that. That's a Christian caricature of what actually happened. The Big Bang is the expansion.
Oh, no, I like Wild Heart. I just think maybe we shouldn't talk about religion. We don't have to talk about that. We can talk about something else.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But to be fair, Brandon Irish did ask me have I come to the Lord yet, so I didn't start it.
Well, we didn't know. It's cool.
Yeah.
So
well, if you read the contract, it's a pretty darn good deal, man. You might want to read it. You don't want to pass this deal up. That's all I'm trying to say. You have to be silly to go, nah, I don't want that deal. I don't want eternal life and all that. You know what I mean?
It's like a mafia boss holding a gun to your head and say, "Do what I say, otherwise I'll torture you."
No. See, you don't realize that the mafia boss, Satan, already has a gun to your head.
No, it's God with
and God's the one. Yeah, God's the one saying no.
What do you think about that comment?
It's a great topic, yeah.
What do you think about that comment?
I think properly understood is right.
Yeah, I mean it's posed before swine. It's posed before swine, but technically it's
what, man? I don't want to see. You seem like a nice, kind person, Wild Heart, and it would break my heart to see you bust into hell. That would.
Yeah. According to your God that you worship, that is exactly what He's going to do to me.
So, well, would you like me to just explain to you the God that I worship?
That's up to Terry. I'd rather really
make deals with devils in your head rolling around telling lies.
Wait a minute. Wildheart, are you saying the God of the Bible is objectively immoral?
Not objectively immoral. I don't think objective morality exists. No.
So subjective.
So what is the basis of your judgment of morality if it's not objective?
The basis is well-being, but that is a subjective bit. The subjective bit is deciding
in your opinion.
Yeah.
In your subjective opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that morality is.
Let me ask you one honest question. I don't really want to go down this road because we've been over it here. But can you imagine a scenario where people are so evil that a quote unquote genocide would bring down suffering overall for humanity? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine a circumstance where people are so evil that a full genocide of people groups would actually lower the suffering, human suffering? Is that possible?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Yes or no? Is it possible?
Is it possible? Yes, it just doesn't make sense with an all-knowing, all-powerful God.
So check this out. Terry, would you permit me?
I'm sure I was in Brandon Irish. I'm sure I was in the middle of a sentence when you interrupted me. It doesn't make sense with an all-powerful, all-knowing God, because He created all the evil people / Nephilim / whatever you want to call them. He created those knowing that He would have to kill them at the moment that He created them. So it doesn't make sense. Again, I'm sure I was in the middle of a sentence.
You're always in the middle of a sentence, but go ahead.
Until you interrupt me. Yeah. Right. So it doesn't make sense for an all-knowing, all-powerful God to create people in advance, knowing that he's going to have to kill them
Yeah.
like 20, 30 years
Sure.
later. Why just not create them?
Okay, real quick, as far
Yeah.
as, because I mean, this is, I've heard this argument before.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, Terry, would you permit me to just read the first chapter of my book just to throw out a little, brain food? Just to,
No,
what?
no.
You might be surprised. I'm not as dumb as I sound sometimes. You know what I
I'm
mean?
surprised that you can read all right, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Why is
appreciate it.
that surprising, Wildheart? I feel like I've heard you say that many times. Where, like, the other day I was in your stream, and you and that other guy were like, "You're too smart to be a Christian," and I'm like, "Do you think that like y'all are more intelligent because you don't believe?"
I'm not Brandon Irish from Ace's channel, and it's not a moral judgment or anything.
Ace is got the wackiest. Ace Theo has the wackiest. He's into universalism.
I'm sure I was in the middle of
Everybody's going to heaven, and Jesus dying
Brandon.
on the cross makes no sense at all.
Brandon, I'm not going to get
I'm
angry.
sure I was in the middle of a sentence.
I was in the you ignorant Irish prick.
Whatever, dude. Go ahead. Go ahead, Wildheart.
Right. What I was saying was, I know Brandon Irish from Ace's channel and from his comments that he leaves, because he doesn't normally join. I'm just surprised that he can read and write. That's all I'm saying. It's not a moral judgment.
Okay.
Well,
have one-
I don't
wait.
think you even understand the comments that I leave for Ace.
Let me. I wanted to say this to Wildheart for a long time, so I was going to say this. The thing about God's foreknowledge, that's classical theism. You could take it or leave it with how you understand God's foreknowledge. I believe in libertarian free will. And so I think you can or cannot refrain. And I think the Bible presents that God is disappointed in some sense that men have decided to do what they do. Now, you can make theological decisions whether you want to go open theism or classical theism or determinism with how you understand God's foreknowledge and the man's ability to make decisions under God's sovereignty. Those are decisions you have to make about how you're going to approach the Bible. But the Bible presents God as disappointed, desiring men to repent, them thwarting his will by not doing what he said he wanted them to do, and then punishing them because of the decision they made. Now, I think when you're often arguing about it, well, God knew and he didn't have to make them. We don't know. That's all presumption about how that would work. Nobody actually knows for sure in that construct. But the Bible presents God as disappointed that men are doing what God didn't want them to do, and that I would suggest that they could have been otherwise. So depending on where you go with your understanding of God's foreknowledge, sovereignty, the freedom of man, so to me, you're just arguing from a really hard determinist sort of point of view. I don't think the Bible presents that or suggests that. I mean, if you go that way, I agree with you. It's a problem, but I don't read it that way. So
but to be clear, I don't care what the Bible says until you can demonstrate that it's a reliable source.
You're moving the goalposts.
Yes, I'm moving the goalposts. Dang.
Just for the record, prophecy proves the Bible. Just so you know,
prophecy doesn't prove the Bible.
It does. It does. It really does.
Him. Well,
God even said that's exactly how he would prove.
God said. When you say God said, do you mean that it says it in the Bible? I'm saying that I don't believe that the Bible is a record of what God thinks or says.
Okay, well, this is where
we are starting with the presupposition that the Bible is true and accurate.
Wait a minute. I get that. But hold on. I just want to point something out. This is the last thing I'm going to say because I'm going to lay down. I need to go. But I just say this. You totally changed the subject. You didn't acknowledge what I said. And we were talking about the Bible as in the way the Bible presents God. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, actually, you know what? I don't even believe the Bible. It's all crap. Demonstrate God exists. Like, no, we were talking about what the
And-
text is suggesting from the narrative. And then you totally ran. By the way, I just want to point out, you totally ran from that and moved the goalposts. So like your heart's got to change if you want to interact honestly, but you don't want to.
I'm saying until you can demonstrate that the Bible is a correct reflection of what God thinks.
Until
then
you can demonstrate.
Can I attempt?
My point, it seems like
Yeah.
we're not having an honest discussion, but I love you anyway.
I
Yeah,
will
and-
make a quick. Yeah, I'll make a quick attempt to prove to you it's absolutely mathematically impossible. You're talking about a 3 quadrillion to 1 shot that
Which is-
Jesus. Yeah,
So
that
if I can stop you there because I can prove you wrong. If it's a 3
I
billion,
believe I was in the middle of a sentence.
you were, but I can
So-
stop you there because I know you're wrong. If you can put 3 billion to 1 chance and it's not mathematically impossible, the chances are 3 billion to 1. If you can put a number on it, then it is not mathematically impossible, is it? Don't fuck.
That is true.
I'm just telling you, I've researched, and I've used my chat GPT that does statistics to calculate the statistical odds. I'm just telling you, man. AI is a pretty handy tool these days. We'd be foolish not to take advantage of it. But anyhow, there's a prophecy given in Daniel chapter 7 about these 400 or the 70 weeks of Daniel. Okay, and it basically the angel Gabriel tells Daniel, and this was a book that was written 700, 800 years before Jesus was ever born. Okay.
Right, can I rudely interrupt you? We can stop there. I can grant you that the prophecy is true. Now demonstrate that it's true because God predicted it and not for any other reason.
Okay, because this is where he's pointing to who the Messiah is actually going to be. And this also ties into the very first prophecy in Genesis 3:15, where God says, I'm going to sow enmity between your seed and the woman's seed.
Right, I'll go even further.
Wait. We're closing down. So Wildheart, make whatever point you want to take 2 minutes. And then respond. Then you can respond, Brandon, and then she's gonna shoo you guys out and close down our stream. So thanks for coming.
Sure. Yeah.
My point
I
is,
apologize, Terry.
It's fine.
my point is, I can grant you every prophecy in the Bible is true. Then you have to demonstrate why it's true. Is it because it came from God? Was it a lucky guess? The fact that every prophecy, even if I grant you that every prophecy in the Bible,
let Wildheart finish his point, so then you can make your point.
yeah. The point, even if I grant you, which I don't believe, that every prophecy in the Bible is true, then you will have to demonstrate why it is true. And you can't link that to God. We don't have a scientific method that can prove supernatural causation for anything. So even if all the prophecies in the Bible were true, you still won't be able to link that to God.
Well,
Okay. Thank you, Wildheart. Okay, Brandon, make your last point. Don't interrupt him, Wildheart.
Yeah. The starting point is you have to read first. A book that was written, let's even say 700 years before Jesus is even born, and also 400 years of complete silence, before Jesus was even born. So, anyways, the mathematical odds of him fulfilling this particular prophecy exactly to the day of exactly 173,880 days from the date that the decree was made to rebuild Jerusalem to the day that Jesus came through the gates, which you can still prove by, Palm Sunday. That's what they still celebrate that day because that's the day he came through the gates of Jerusalem, being hailed on a donkey as Messiah, and then being killed. So I don't know why anybody would willingly go fulfill this prophecy when at the end of it you're going to die on a cross.
Sorry, it was
All right,
actually
that's
two.
it. That's it. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good
Thanks,
night,
Sarah.
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Get out of here.
We love you all. Thanks for coming. I didn't mean to be rude, but we gotta say goodnight.
Yeah, it's getting late here, and yeah, it's been a hard week. Especially, I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, definitely want to rest.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was. It's fun having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, babe.
Although you attract some interesting guests.
I guess those background people. That was disgusting.
That was
Let's not even talk
disgusting.
about it.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
not
not. Let's just go pray.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you for having me, and God bless everybody out there, and may God be with you. Good night.
Yeah, take care, guys. I'm not going to sleep. I eat meat. You think so, guys? All right. Well, thanks for being here. I know, Yoda. Oh, well. I don't know. No, I don't wish to be that way. Like, oh, Yoda just saying something to me about kicking Wild Heart.
Oh, I didn't kick him. I warned him. And I gave him
Yeah.
words.
No, I know you didn't. He's saying I should have. I've never seen The Passion of the Christ.
You haven't?
No. Adriana suggests that we should watch it, but I don't know. I
No,
think
if you watch that, they'll give you a copyright. I've used it before. They make copyright.
no,
Oh,
I'm not gonna show it on here.
Yeah.
Kick Wild Heart, dang.
We didn't kick women.
No, they're saying
You
we
should.
should.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, chat was good. It's all good, guys. Well, it was an interesting stream, but yeah. Till next time. Bye.